And welcome into another episode of In Depth with Fox Carolina Sports. Hey there, I'm Aaron Cheslock, and we're doing the show live for the first time, which is a positive sign given what we've gone through in the sports world over the last year and a half. We're joined by Blue Hose Baseball head coach Elton Pollock and Brody Fahr, a freshman on the team. The Blue Hose are getting south for the Big South tournament, getting going this week. So, guys, I appreciate you making some time for us. Coach, I'll start with you. After the tumultuous 2020 season, which I'm sure was a first in your coaching history, how gratifying is it to just get to this point?
It's awesome. Just to get out on the field, see the kids play, and that's what it's been all about. So we've been excited just to really get back to some type of routine with our guys, and really ecstatic to watch them perform in and throughout the season, even throughout the ups and downs.
Brody, you were one of the many high schoolers that saw their season come to an end last year before you guys really even got to get on the field, just to get out there and play again. I mean, can you just go through the emotions for you from not being able to play your senior year to coming out here in year one with a D1 baseball team?
Yeah, it was a little bit confusing and frustrating to get my season canceled last year, but just be able to be out here and compete throughout the whole season was very nice and very fun to do with these guys.
So let's look at your guys' resume here. 18 wins in conference, 5 of the last 6. 1 run short of going 6 straight, I should mention. Where's the confidence level right now as you guys get set for the conference tournament, which we all know if you guys go on a run and win it all, you're going to the NCAA tournament. So obviously when you win 5 of the last 6, that 6th game just squeaks away from you. Got to feel pretty confident heading to this thing.
I think so. I think our guys are in a good place, and obviously we've been able to play through some things and just watch ourselves progress. It's been really, really fun to watch our leadership just take hold and put us in a good spot to really persevere through things and end up with a chance. And that's really all you want at the start of this thing, is to have a chance. And so we put ourselves in that position. So a lot of tight ball games, extra inning ball games. The resume includes all of those things, and it's been fun to watch these guys persevere.
Brody, how have you seen the team improve from game 1?
I just see that we're executing more and doing the little things more and finding what we do best in ourselves than trying to shine out. If like Coach P says, ant's going to be an ant, a bull's going to be a bull. So just the guys are doing what they need to do to get the job done, whether it's bunting or getting a guy over, scoring them, and then just playing defense.
Now, you were a high-profile player at a top program in the state at Riverside High School, but you come to D1 baseball, that's a whole different league, whole different ball game, so to speak, pun intended, I guess you could say. What's been the biggest adjustment for you? Is it the speed of the pitches, the speed of the game, just the variety of pitches you're seeing? What's the biggest adjustment? What did you think you were going to see coming into this year, and what's really maybe taking you by surprise a little bit?
I thought I was going to see more velocity, which I have, but something that surprised me more was the effectiveness on a changeup and a curveball slider, which I didn't really see much of in high school. And the longer games, going from 7 innings to 9 innings, was a hard adjustment at first, but going throughout the season, it's become easier and easier.
Coach, how have you seen the young talent on your team really step up to help you guys?
Well, they've done just that. I don't think there is, for me, the best guy is going to play. And, obviously providing a lot of opportunity this season has given us a chance to play a lot of young guys. And they've stepped up. I mean, we've got, we've had some players of the week. I think Brody was one of those at one time, and he has made the adjustment extremely well, in addition to some of our arms and just watching guys progress. So, we had hoped that they would be thrown into the fire at some point, for lack of a better term, but they've had to really grow up fast and learn on the run. And when we've been able to do some things with the young crowd, I think, at one point, as we were working back off of a COVID shutdown with the team during midseason, we went up and played Radford, and I looked up and we had six freshmen on the field at one time. So that was, obviously not how I would have drawn it up, but not only were they on the field, we were able to pull out a win with those guys on the field. So, just watching them grow up, and it's not really rocket science. We've got a very good foundation that we build in the fall. We talk about a lot of the things that are foundational for our program, and just watching these guys when they got their opportunity, they were ready. So it's what we preach, but seeing it play out, it's been really huge.
Coach, the show's called In Depth, so I wonder if you'd let us walk down memory lane with you just a little bit here.
Sure.
And Brody, you might learn something here. Coach is a two-sport star here at his alma mater, Presbyterian. He's drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates organization, 95 MLB draft. Now, I remember the early 90s. I don't know how much your players remember the early 90s. You got to remind them about your resume a little bit?
I don't. I don't do that. I promise you, when I first got into coaching, I did it wrong. So I would tell those guys when I first got in. But, as more distance has come in between that, I've been trying to train guys up to break every record in the record books and maximize their potential and just go about it. And quite frankly, they've done some of that. We've got Zacchaeus Raspberry, one of our fifth-year guys, is now the steals leader as far as Division I is concerned. And so, I don't go back down memory lane too much, other than when we get an alum to come by and grace us with their presence during practice or something along those lines. They'll start talking about certain things. But, man, I look back now, it was a good while ago, and I had some great coaches, great mentors that allowed me to play two sports when I was here at PC. Played for Tim Corbin, who recruited me out of Irmo High School, and he left and went to Clemson as the recruiting coordinator there. And then Doug Kovash came in, and I still keep in touch with those guys. They're still huge mentors in my life. Coach Kovash in particular, just a man of faith and has done a lot of the things that I find myself doing in coaching, and it really taught me the ropes early on as I started to get back into coaching.
Well, you take over the Blue Hose program in 2005, and it's really the beginning of your second career, from player to coach. And you lead the transition to Division I in 2008. Predictably, some up and down years follow right after that. For those of us that aren't in Division I athletics or a school going to Division I, how tough of a transition is that, moving up to D1 baseball?
Well, it's extremely difficult, and it's extremely difficult from a number of areas. Well, when you're transitioning, there's a probationary period of about 5 years. So from that 08 period to about 12, 13 was a period of time where we were not eligible for postseason play. And so you have to continue to recruit during that time. And so the selling point is that they get an opportunity to play against Division I competition. But, man, as these guys, as Brody and his teammates will tell you, there's nothing that's gotten us more fired up than the ability to go to the conference tournament, to earn that opportunity, and to go play in the postseason for a shot and a chance at a regional. So to play through that, to recruit during that time, it takes a long time to get the train back on the track, if that makes sense. So it's difficult, and it's we're humbled at what we've got coming. We've got lights coming to our ballpark, which has been a long time coming, and a lot of people have been kind of waiting on that. Our administration is pushing the envelope forward to make that happen. So we're excited about it, but we've had to recruit during a time where we don't have lights. We're one of the few programs that have not had that, and we don't want to talk about what we don't have, because we've been able to compete in spite of, and the teams that we've been able to put on the field have been ones that you remember. They hustle, they play the game hard, they play it the right way. Something I stress tremendously with these guys, not getting too high or too low, but just making sure that we continue to press forward. Make an error, so what? Next play, and we keep moving on. So these are the things that have kind of sustained us during those difficult years of transition and even beyond, to put teams on the field that have progressively gotten better. And so I'm excited about what the future holds, with so many freshmen especially contributing. So I'm looking forward to really what tomorrow brings.
So let's jump to 2015 here, and that's really where this program takes their first major step forward. The Blue Hose explode for 27 wins, including wins over both Clemson and South Carolina. Top 25 teams in UCF, Indiana. They follow it up with another 27 win season in 2016. And in 17, you shatter that record with 32 wins. So when you're looking at this trajectory, how do you credit how quickly you guys jumped into contention there from the 2015-2017 stretch? It looks like not just steps forward, but leaps.
Well, Depends on how you look at it, because I think those foundational pieces were put in by the guys that went through the transition period, and then you had that linger with the freshmen that came in on their coattails to kind of be seniors and really had an opportunity to progress and move the program forward at that point. Not to slight, I mean, we had some good players during that time. One of the pitchers on that 2017 team, Hayden Deal, is still pitching in the Braves organization. He was the opening day starter for their AA club in Mississippi this past year. So we're hopeful that Hayden has put himself in a position to get a shot at the big leagues here pretty soon. And he and a lot of his teammates put in the work. And I tell these guys, you don't have to be perfect, and none of us are, but you have to persevere. You have to work hard. You have to stay committed and do the little things. We boast a 3.3 GPA as a team, and that's due to the hard work of these young men that put in the time each and every day. So I take little to no credit other than hiring good coaches that can help me recruit and put the right guys into the right situation, and then it kind of perpetuates itself into something good. And not to mention we have a tremendous amount of faith in our program, so I think that carries us in and throughout everything that we do.
2019, you have another 30-win season, wins over Clemson and Alabama. And I got to imagine when you have that kind of momentum going into 2020, it has to make, obviously, everyone dealt with setbacks and we've all had difficulties dealing with the pandemic. But when you have that team with that kind of momentum going into 2020, I got to imagine that, the what-ifs have to build up with that season getting canceled.
Yeah, and we started off rocky in 2020. That was a tough start to that year. We always schedule extremely heavy. This year was no different in 2021 with the 3-game set against Auburn. And my thought process in that is to challenge the guys early on so that they see elite competition and nothing surprises us as we move forward. So that's where, really the foundational pieces of what we're talking about is to challenge them, for them to see those challenges and then to prevail, hopefully. So I'm excited about where we are and where the future can take us. So we'll see how that all plays out, especially in this tournament that's coming up.
Brody, you're an upstate kid. You're playing for one of the oldest with the richest tradition upstate universities. How much pride do you take into staying home and possibly doing something special here later in the week?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to just be close to my family, but I really look up to the seniors on this team and what they show and what it really means to be a Blue Hose. They show me just the hard work and dedication that it takes, and the love the love that they show one another really just is tremendous, and it really helps me be a better teammate.
What's the biggest key to you guys having success this week?
You just have to execute our bunts, sack flies, get the runner over, and play defense, throw strikes, and I think we'll be good.
Coach, you look at your resume, 17th season, more than 300 wins in Clinton. What's your biggest growth that you've had as a coach from your playing days? I got to imagine you see the game a little differently, and with the amount of years, the amount of reps, the amount of innings that you've put under your belt at this point, I got to imagine there's been multiple areas that you've grown during that decade and a half.
Yeah, I would probably say breathing. Breathing and being able to take a step back. I mean, I have 4 children, one of whom is my oldest is a freshman or finished her freshman year. She corrected me yesterday. She said, I'm a sophomore. And so she's a sophomore at Clemson. And, I've got a rising senior at Dutch Fork High School, a rising 7th grader. Those are all my girls. And then I've got a son that's 10 years old, and he's playing baseball now. So I get to take a step back and look at it through a different lens. I don't just grind our players. I mean, we get our work in, and then we get out of here, we breathe, and we allow the game to kind of take its course. We work at it when we're doing it, but when we get away from it, we breathe. And so I think that helps them keep things in perspective, not to take things too literally or just hammer themselves when things go wrong. I mean, you've heard it said before, I mean, you can hit 300, which means 70% of the time you fail, and still be successful at this game. So keeping that in perspective has really taught me how to breathe and allow, our guys to go out and have fun playing the game that they loved. So, I grew up in a different era where it was a lot of grind sessions that go on, and not to say that we don't have those sessions as well, because I think they're necessary when they do rear their heads. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we're progressing, pushing them in the right direction, but also being able to take our hands off, get out of the way, and allow these guys to play. I'm just really kind of orchestrating things from third base, and from a managerial standpoint, depending on my coaches to really provide necessary information for what they see, trusting that, because, a lot of different sets of eyes are on this thing and have seen the game from a lot of different perspectives. So, I don't have a bullhead where that's concerned. I take that information, use it, and we try to make sure that we capitalize when we're able to do that.
When you recruit a kid like Brody, obviously he's got a lot of talent, but he comes from a program in Riverside High that's competitive for a state championship almost every year. How much does that play into the kids that you want to recruit, coming from programs with winning traditions?
I think that's a big piece to the puzzle. When you've got guys that have traditionally won or play for coaches that have done that, and they've been starters through those ups and downs, and they've played at an early age. There's a lot of baseball to go with that. Especially when you're training hitters and even pitchers to that end. The more at bats, the more pitches they've seen, the better they're going to be. The more sliders that Brody's talking about. He is not the same hitter at the end of the season that he was on the beginning. He's just seen it. He's able to fight off more pitches and lay off, and then take his shots when he's able to do that. Still trying to push him to take those shots when he's definitely got the count in his favor, because he's got some juice if he can find the barrel. So he's done some things along those lines, but it's constant communication, constant teaching. And but when you got guys that have been there, done that, they're more receptive. One of his assistant coaches in high school played shortstop for me, Jay Lazanich. And Jay Lazanich was a very good shortstop. Started off at third, kicked over to shortstop his senior year, and did an outstanding job for us. His high school teammate, who's a year ahead of him, Landon Shaw, they've kind of flip-flopped it now, and Brody's playing short, and Landon's playing second base. But we've got a Riverside connection all the way up the middle, and we've kind of kept that throughout the years, because Jay was one of the ones that started that, at least for me. I had two teammates also that were Riverside guys, a guy named Julius Prince, who's the head football coach at Greer High School, and also a guy named Darren Bain, who was a pitcher as well for Greer High School. So that tradition is rich, and they fed into this program for years that I was not responsible for, and it's always been really good.
And Brody, I got to ask you before I let you go, we're taping this before the ACC tournament, so we're not quite sure how Clemson's going to do. But the year that Caden Grice has had, your former teammate, has been absolutely sensational. Are you surprised at all by how easily he's picked up, hitting the ball, 400 feet out the ballpark here?
Not at all. He's doing it in practice. He's doing it in high school games. They had a pitch around him just so he wouldn't do it. And, I'm not surprised at all. He's a sensational player and great person, too.
How tight of a family is this? You guys pump out, high-level prospects every single year. Michael Ross, one that comes to mind, the famous South Carolina pitcher that, became a superstar, a legend in SC baseball history in the College World Series. But I got to imagine, it's still a tight-knit group, even when you guys get out of there.
Yeah, it was. And we still keep up communicating with each other with the 2019 class, 2018 class, all talk, and me and Landon Shaw, who's here too, playing middle infield. We still try to just hang out with those guys and communicate, and it's really fun to have that connection.
Coach, final one. There's a lot of accomplishments I've listed on that resume of yours, but I got to imagine a Big South title would kind of go right up there at the top. How eager are you to get this thing going, and what would it mean to you to not only win the conference tournament championship, but punch a ticket to the NCAAs?
Well, I think that would be something that not just myself and this team could celebrate, but it'll be for, you're talking about a community, you're talking about the college, you're talking about all of the alum that have poured into this program. And so I think it would be very, very big, just to say the least. But, it's there's a rich tradition here at PC, and nothing would make me happier. Our tennis team took it to the NCAAs this year, had some success. In a few years past, our soccer team was able to do that. So I'm just, just ecstatic to be in position. So if we get a shot to go on, then it'll be due to the hard work of these guys and their trust and commitment in me to help lead them. But at the same time, they're the ones that have to go out and play the game. So we're just happy to be in position, and they've put us here.
Coach Brody, best of luck to you this week. Thank you so much for joining us here on In Depth with Fox Carolina Sports. Thank you guys for joining us as well. PC hits the field on Thursday against Campbell to start the Big South tournament. We have another great episode for you next week. Have a great one, everyone.